Hello humans and welcome to this video, and I want to talk about the Chieftain. And I mean, there is so many tanks in shop, it's absolutely crazy. Wargaming is very horny at the moment, so they got to pay for a lot of OnlyFans, so they do put a lot of tanks in the shop. I wouldn't buy these are pointless. And then I might also make a video about this one because it is a very interesting tank, I'd say, but that is for another video. Today I want to talk about this one, 6,000 gold for the Chieftain T95. And with camos and pointless accessories, like 2 collectible containers that are meant to make you addicted to crates. So let's have a look at the tank first, and then let's talk about whether it's worth it, whether it's good or not. What we can see here, we start off with the stats obviously, is that the DPM is not that much worse than the Carnarvon Action X, and it also has better alpha damage, which is already a great thing. You'd like to have that. Now obviously the penetration is slightly worse on the AP, but is better on the APCR, which, I mean, cancels each other out basically. And then you obviously have the T42 with its only 2,200 DPM, but obviously that tank has 310 alpha damage and it's very, very strong. And you also have the T2065, which has only 2,500 DPM. So basically, in terms of the aim time, they'll have the same pretty much. I don't know why Wargaming loves 1.42 so much, because there's so many tanks that have this type of aim time, or Blitz Stars is just not good at that. But yeah, as you can see, the dispersion is all relatively good. It's worse than the Action X here, but it is not worse by far. The mobility, however, is better in terms of the speed and also the effective power to weight ratio. I don't think that's actually shown in Blitz, but that's actually what matters, because obviously power to weight ratio only matters in comparison with the ground resistance, and then you end up at effective horsepower per ton, which is better than all of these, which means the Chieftain is a very fast boy. Now, 170% is not as great as the T4, so it's bad for making creds. However, look at that view range. That thing sees things 10 meters more, which in Blitz is quite a lot. So you also have relatively good armor, actually. The hull doesn't really exist, but the turret is relatively well armored for the fact that it has the cupola and is well angled. Obviously, overall, you don't have much in terms of armor. You have thickness, but you don't have too much in terms of value. While the turret is strong, you have a massive cupola on top, so that is something you have to definitely watch out for. It's not doing very well, but I mean, no one really plays it. So to get back into the 6,000 gold here, which is a relatively decent price. However, one thing you have to keep in mind is that the T34 is always sold for 5,500 with a lot of extra stuff as well. Is it better than that? I don't know. I doubt it, actually. And the thing is, if you own either the AMX M449 or the T54A2, then I don't think this should be worth considering. Even if you own the T26E5, you might not want to go for this. However, if you have neither of them, and you want to have a decent entry-level heavium type tank, this can be an option. I would still recommend the other 3 over this one, though. So, here we go into the battle. And the first one, obviously, the biggest problem you have with this thing is the absolutely massive cupola. And while that gives you more view range, which is not too bad for a heavy tank, you know, I mean, if the map's like, I think 560, that's sort of the standard size, like 560 meters. So 10 meters more is nice to have, certainly. And while it doesn't matter too much, it is still a nice to have thing. And obviously, those don't help if you just do that. You are not very well armored in this vehicle. A T54A2, AMX M49 certainly are stronger in that regard. So you kinda don't want to do that, what he just did. So that is not a good idea. Hello there, King Kong. That's a name. A+ for the name there. What is the best username you've seen so far that you can remember? Put it in the comments. And also don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to. That is, obviously. What is your best username? Because this one's the best I've seen in a while. Not the best player though necessarily, but yeah, that's fine. So, Bulldog, can we take a shot at him? Now obviously 225 alpha damage is not really that great. For a heavy tank especially. You want to have a bit more oomph as a heavy. 310, I think, would be a good minimum to start when you want to have like a solid heavy tank gun. Unfortunately, that's not the case here. You have 225, which is, I do think this vehicle is better than the Action X. Why? Because the Action X doesn't have any armor either, really. And probably might even have worse. I mean, the cupola isn't that big, but You can pin it everywhere. That's bad. So, I do think that this tank is more solid. While it trades a bit of DPM, it gets more alpha damage, which is very important for heavy tanks. So, I'd rather have this one than the Action X these days, basically. And I don't want to peek that, because the problem is, when you peek this side, you obviously expose the cupola. When you peek the other way around, you don't. So, you want to ideally play from the side where you can hide that side of the cupola, but that's not the case here, but that's fine so far. There's only 3 of them left, the STA, and yep. So this was as you can see, take the map control. There's 5 of them in one corner, and the other 2 are over there. So they haven't taken any map control, they haven't taken any overview. As you can see, the third armor is very strong here. If you keep it moving, unlike not what he's doing, if you keep moving, you can avoid being shot in the turret, and the cupola rather, but not great, I'd say. Let's go on to the next game. I think I would put this tank in the nice to have, but not necessarily recommended category, which is one below, between like below like a T94E2 or an MXM49, because I do think those two are still better, even though they do have less DPM, they have more alpha damage. They also do have better armor, so I do think that those are preferred picks, even though the T94E2 especially is more expensive a lot of times. But I think the best performance per value you can get today is probably the MX. And then maybe something like a T34. Even though you might not think that the T34 is still a good tank. I mean, it has high alpha damage, high penetration. There's nothing against that. You know, you can't beat that, really. In terms of penetration and alpha damage, that combination on a T34. It's still good. It's not great, but it's still good. So, with this one, you have a weird kind of tank. It wants to be a heavy tank, but it is more of a slow medium. So, I don't know. If you enjoy this kind of playstyle, that can certainly be it. And if you already have the T26, it's like one of those tanks that, if you like heaviums, if you like main battle tank type tanks, this can be a very good option, especially if you want to collect tanks. But overall, as a like, you buy 3 premium tanks and then you're broke, absolutely not. There are not a lot of tanks that are worth it for that. Because a lot of you aren't whales that buy 50 tanks. You know, 50 premium tanks. You buy like, what, 4 or 5? And this is not one of those 4 or 5. Certainly not. So, overall, why are they capping? Why the hell are you capping? I don't understand that. I never understand why people just... Like, capping is a great tool for when you have like a runaway light tank at the end or something like that. But why do you cap now? Obviously, it's super annoying. That's about it. Yeah. Okay. Now, obviously, we're down here. They're up here, which is bad. The WT is kind of YOLOing, which is also bad. So, I'm going to try and decap the 103. So, I don't know which one he shot, so... Yep, that's the one. And now, obviously, the WT is just completely throwing, which is great, which is bad. Let's see what we can make out of this. I hope that Chim's down there is gonna... Never mind. Ah, that's bad. That's really bad. That's really, really bad. Can't do anything about that, unfortunately. That's teams these days. That's how it works. Okay, I'm gonna try... Would like to get the Chimera and also the T26. Well, the Scorpion rather, not the Chimera, because he's already gotten. Oh, hello there. There you are. As you can see, he's very low, so we're gonna take him. Is that WT just... Okay, never mind. Okay, WT's hunting me. Yep, definitely hunting me, which is very bad, so I'm gonna have to take out this guy very quickly. And then 800 HP. Some other ST1 is alive, which is good for him. And here we go. He does not have the best of gun depression, so we'll use that to advantage. Use the HE, which is decent. And, never mind. I kind of suck at this game. And that's a nice shot. Okay, they're going to cap, aren't they? Okay, that is not good. I mean, the M103 is definitely going to cap. Obviously, having a WT here is a bad idea, because he's going to get HE'd. It's more effective at longer range. And well, I don't think that the M103 is a good player by any means, because he's capping like that. But still, we're going to have to get rid of the M3 here, ideally, without getting clipped too badly. And then, that's beautiful. Thank you. Very nice, WT. And now obviously we have our M103 friend down there that's not having a camo either, so I would not expect him to be a great player. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to bait him in, and then the WT can peek him from the other side and just damage him. Or just miss, I suppose. What are you doing, mate? You just shot. That's bad. That's not what you want to do. You know, when someone just shoots, why would you turn to them? They're not a threat at the moment. You know, he should have kept aiming at me, because I have the loaded shot. I have the damage. He doesn't. But yeah, this is like beating up a puppy, pretty much. Which doesn't add much value, but you can see the gun is very effective and very strong if put in a right position, if put against good players. I mean, of course he's going to focus the tier 9. Duh. And that's 4,000 damage for the Chieftain. T95. It is nowhere near as good as the tier 10 Chieftain, but it is solid. It is solid. I would say, as already said, it can be a good purchase, but it shouldn't be a primary purchase. So with that said, thank you very much for watching. See you next one. Goodbye.